Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to solve day 12 problem of this month on LeetCode. Before starting, if you guys haven't subscribed my YouTube channel yet, then please go ahead and subscribe it. Now without any delay, let's get started with today's problem. Problem number 3433. Count mentions per user. Right. So let's read the problem statement. You are given an integer number of users representing the total number of users and an array events of size n into 3, right? So events array size is n into 3, right? All right. Each events of I can be either of the following two types. First is message event, right? So in message event we have three values like this. First is message, then we have timestamp, then we have a mention string, right? Now here this event indicates that a set of users was mentioned in a message at timestamp. The set of users was mentioned in a message at timestamp, right? What is this mention string? The mention string can contain one of the following tokens. First is this, second is this one, third is this one. I'm talking about this mention string, right? ID number, where number is an integer in the range 0 to number of users. This thing 0 to number of users minus 1, right? So if my number of users is 2, right, then in that case I can have IDs like this ID and this number value from 0 to 1. So 0 to 2 minus 1, so 1, right? So ID 0, it can be ID 0, right? Or it can be ID 1, right? Something like this, right? Clear? Right. Now there can be multiple IDs separated by a single white space. Okay, multiple IDs can be given to us, right? Separated by a single white space. Okay, single white space, and it may contain duplicates, right? Maybe I have ID 0, ID 1, ID 0 again, ID 1 again, right? Like this, right? This can mention even the offline users. So here we can mention even the offline user as well, offline users as well, right? Here, right? Okay, no problem. Then after that I'm talking about this mention string only, right? So it can contain one of the following tokens. So this may be the case, or it may contain all value. Instead of these values, it may contain single all. So it represents all the users. It mentions all the users, maybe offline or maybe online, right? All the users, right? And here, right, we can have here instead of this we can have here in this message event, right? So it mentions all the online users only, right? So here in this ID, in this first we can have online offline all the users, right? This can mention even the offline user, right? Here also offline and online, right? But here all, everyone, right? Here there may be few ones, maybe ID 1 is not there, something like this. Okay, and here this part here it mentions only the online users. All right, I'm clear with this, right? Events of I can be either of the following two types. So first type we are clear, right? Second type, we can have offline event. So here, see, here message is mentioned, and in this again three values are there, 1 2 3, but here offline is mentioned, right? Here offline is mentioned, right? So this event indicates that the user ID this had become offline at this timestamp, right, for 60 time units, right? Offline at this for 60 time units, right? So in this offline event we are just making any user offline for 60 minutes starting from this timestamp, right? The user will automatically be online again at timestamp of I plus 60. Okay, clear? Done. What we have to return here? We have to return an array mentions, right? This array mentions, where mentions of I represents the number of mentions the user with ID of I has across all the message events. So across all the message events, right? Across all these message events, we have to return the number of mentions the user has with ID of I, right? And how many number of users? We have number of users 2, then that simply means 0 and 1, right? So for this, how many mentions are there? For this, how many mentions are there? This is what we need to return, right? And let's say this is nothing but my mentions array, right? Clear? We have to return mentions array in that, right? Okay, cool. Then here, all users are initially online. And if a user goes offline or come back online, their important line, their status change is processed before handling any message event that occurs at the same timestamp. Okay, so here if you see, in the message event and in the offline event, we have timestamp of I value, right? So this line is saying that their status change is processed before handling any message event, right? So if here we have timestamp, let's say 89, and here also we have timestamp 89, then we have to process this event first, this event, because this event is where status change is happening, right? And then after that we have to process this, right? Okay, clear? And here, if you notice, we are dependent on this timestamp every time, right? Like initially, then after that 20 units of time pass, then 40 units, then 80 units, then 89 units pass, right? 89, if I reach to 89, then offline event I have to process first, then this. So all these events actually I need to sort them based on this timestamp of I value in increasing order, right? From here one thing is clear, right? So what I will do, because definitely here if any user become offline for 60 units, right? So let's say at 20 timestamp he goes offline for 60 units. After that at 80 it becomes online, but I have to process this 20 before, right? In the events array I have to process this 21 first, right? It's not like I process 80 timestamp 89, or you can say 189 timestamp first, and then after that I'm checking 20 timestamp, or maybe I am checking, let's say 50 timestamp first. Then in that case I will treat this user as online, but maybe at 20 timestamp it already go offline, right? Here if you see 2260, it's already offline, so why I need to process? So I have to do the sorting here based on this timestamp, right? So I hope that this thing is clear to you, right? So their status change is processed before handling any message event that occurs at the same timestamp. Clear? Note that a user can be mentioned multiple times in a single message event, right? And each mention should be counted separately. We have to calculate all the mentions. Clear? So actually only if we understand this problem statement, then this problem is very easy. Now everything depends on this sorting, right? And after that there are some if else we need to check. That's it, nothing complex. Only sorting is important in this problem based on this timestamp. Based on timestamp we have to do the sorting, but if timestamp is same, then we have to do the sorting based on this offline event first, right? So how we going to get if a message is offline, or if event is offline or message, or if event is a message? So based on this we have to check then, right? So based on timestamp we have to do sorting, right? Based on timestamp we have to do sorting, right? And this is one thing. And after that if we have a same timestamp, right, of any two events, let's say A and B, right, then in that case offline message, right, it is going to come first, then message is going to come, right? So these are two things we need to take care. Okay, now let's see some examples here and let's try to solve them here. Okay, number of users 2, so 0 and 1, right? So here I have to just find out how many times there is mention about this user and there is mention about this user, right? Initially all are online. Okay, so let's say this is my array, right? So message, okay, event is message. First we have to do the sorting. 10, 11, 71, cool, already sorted. Okay, already sorted. First is message. Both are here id1 and id0 type given, right? Token. This the here this event indicates the set of users was mentioned in a timestamp. Okay, and each event can be of two types, and here, yeah, this line string can contain one of the following tokens. So this type or this type. So here this type. So in this actually here we are only going to take care about this 1 and this 0. We don't need to take care of this, right? And also here there is space, right? So first I will split this string based on the space. I will get something like this. And here if we have id 0 two times, so I have to count 0 two times, right? Okay, so this just take care of this thing as well, right? So now I split it like this. Now here also in this is my string, right? So I can select the substring starting from 2, right? Here also starting from 2 because I only deal with this, right? But this is a string actually, so I have to convert this to integer, so I can write integer dot %, something like this in code, right? So I will get this. So here 1 and 0 we are mentioning, right? So here I'm going to change it to 1 and this to 1. Okay, then offline event occurs, right? Here at 11:40. Okay, so here one more thing I need to take care. That is nothing but the next online time of the users. Next online time of users, right? Initially everyone is online, so I can say 0:00. Means initially both are online, right? 0:00 means both are online initially. Okay, now here we have 11:40, right? So here we have to do 11 plus 60, right? And 11 plus 60 is nothing but 71. So 71 is the next online time for user 0, right? This array also I need to create. Okay, now here again message event occurs, and message event is occurring at 71, and at 71 if you see this user is already online, right? This user is already online at 71, right? And here is mentioned, here is for online users, here mentions all the online users. So here if you see this is also online, this is also online, so both 0 and 1 are online. So here 0 again we are mentioning 0 and again we are mentioning 1, so here it becomes 2 2. That's it, this is my output. Clear? See here explanation. Initially all users are online. At timestamp 10 id1 and id0 are mentioned, so mentions group 1 1. At timestamp 11 id0 goes offline. At timestamp 71 id0 comes back online, and here is mentioned for online users, so it becomes this. That's it. Clear? Okay, so so here I will just check this value, right? This whenever I see message, right, and I see here, so here means I have to check online users, right? So I have to iterate over all the users I have 0 and 1, and here I will check if this value, right, if this value, right, this value, if this value is smaller than, this value is smaller than the value that I have here, right? Then in that case user is offline, then we don't have to count that particular user, then we have to check for other, right? Then we have to check this with this, right, like this, right? So these are things that we need to do, right? Here same thing, number of users 2, so this 0 and 1, so first message event, okay, 1 and 0, 1 time, done. Offline, so here see at 11 0 goes offline, right? So here next online time is 11 plus 60, 71 for this one, and this one is still 0, right? Again message 12 at 12, right? At 12, but here all is there. All means we are talking about all the users, offline or maybe online, right? So we are mentioning all, right? So here we have 1 1 increment 1 1, right? I timestamp temp id1 id0 are mentions 1 1. I timestamp 1 1 id0 goes offline. I timestamp 12 all is mentioned. This includes offline users, so both id0 and id1 are mentioned. That's it. Clear? See example number 3. Again number of users is 2, right? So let's say this, okay, 0 and 1. First a offline event occurs, so this is going to become 60 plus 10, 70 and 0, right? Done. Okay, then this message, see here 10 and 12 already sorted, right? So we have to do sort it. Maybe there are some examples where this thing is not sorted, right? Okay, so we have to do sort, right? Okay, 70. Now here 12, right? So here 12 offline, no change here. Message, now we have to do change here, means only talking about online users. And see this 12 is less than 70, right? So that simply means that we don't need to consider this, right? But we can consider this one, right? User 1, here 0 and here 12, right? So 12 is greater than equal to 0, so we have to consider, we are happy here. So here 1 and here 0, that's it. That's it. Okay, clear? And these are the constants. So numbers of users is from 1 to 100. Events dot length is also from 1 to 100. Events of I dot length, so always 3 values are there, and the first value will be one message or offline. All right. And int of events of I of 1 is from 1 to 10 to 5, this timestamp value, right? The number of ID number mentions in any message event is between 1 and 900, right? Number value is from 0 to number of users minus 1, right? And it is granted that user ID referenced in the offline event is online at the time the event occurs. Okay, this is given to us, right? Now how we need to do the sorting, right? Problem is very simple now, right? We have to just write the code step by step, whatever they are asking, we have to just write the code. Okay, so how I'm going to do the sorting, so let's see that. Okay, so I'm going to write the code and side by side I'm going to explain. Okay, so first this, let me increment the size. So here we have to sort by timestamp, right? And for same timestamp, right, offline before message, right? Let me write it in capital, this offline. Clear this thing, right? So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to write, this is nothing but list of strings events, so I have to sort these events, right? Events dot sort. Let's say there are two events going on, A and B, right? These two events are going on right now. Okay, now after that what I need to do, I have to sort these two events, right? So how I'm going to sort these two events? So first I will get the time of event A. So time of event A. So here see how we have this time. Time is like this in a string, right? And this string is inside one list, right? It is inside one list, right? So here for this A list, right? So I'm going to write a dot get the value at 1. So I will get the string, right? Okay, I get the string. Now after that I have to change this to integer, right? I have to change to this to integer. So here I'm going to write integer dot parse int. That's it. Okay, clear? Same way I have to write for B event. So time here b integer dot parseInt b dot get 1. All right, so now if time of a is not equal to time of b, right? If this is the case, if time of a is not equal to b, then only execute the, then only return from here. Okay, if time is not same, then return from here. Whatever I'm going to write. So in return, what I'm going to write, integer dot compare. Okay, and here I'm going to pass time a, and here I'm going to pass time b. Now how this integer dot compare works, right? This is the next thing, right? Let's understand this. Okay, so first, okay, I will also use this offline and this thing also, but first let's understand this, right? So in integer dot compare, I am passing two times, right? Time a, time b, right? So how it is going to work? So it's working like this. So here we have two values, a and b. So it is going to return negative if a is smaller than b. It is going to return 0 if a is equal to b, and it is going to return positive if a is greater than b. Clear? This is how this works, right? So now take some examples. So let's say this. So 5 and 10. So 5 and 10. So here in this case it is going to return negative. So if it is negative, that simply means that first 5 is smaller, and so it comes first in sorting. So that simply means 5 and 10, like this. Okay, so if this side value is smaller and this side value is bigger, then it is going to return negative. Okay, if a is less than b, negative, right? Here this example 20 and 3. So if a is greater than b, right? A is greater than b, then it simply means positive. So if it is positive, then b is going to come first. This 20, this 3 is going to come first, then 20, right? So 20 is bigger, so it comes later when sorting, like this, right? And if both are same, then simple 7 7, it is going to return 0, and meaning they are equal, sorting keeps their original order, right? So this is how sorting works, this integer dot compare. Okay, and I will also use this offline first and message later, right? This also we need to process. So for this one, first let's write the code. Okay, so here I'm taking two, we have two events, right? So I'm going to check whether in these two events my message is equal to message or not. So boolean a is message. Okay, and here event a get the very first value from 0 index, and just check if it equals, right, equals message, right? Message, right? So this is what I'm checking. So if in the first event we have message, and here also I'm checking b is message. Okay, b is message, and here from b event b, so if this is also equal to message, right? So if, and I'm only executing these two if my time a is not equal to time b, right? Because if my time a is equal to time b, only then I'm executing these two, right? These things. If it is not equal, then I'm simply returning from here, right? But if this is not the case, then I have to return from here, and in this return I have to compare based on the offline or message, right? So here boolean dot compare, boolean dot compare, and in this I am passing this a is message and b is message. This is the main thing of this code, that's it, right? So here offline is going to come first, and then the message. Okay, done. So this is what we have to do here, that's it. Now let's see this, how this works. So here let's say first going to return me false, let's say it is offline, and here it is going to return true only when it is message, right? So here it is returning message, so it is running true, right? So here now if I'm going to compare these two, so first is false and then true, first is false then it is true, right? Like this. So in this case it is going to return -1, and you know that when I have -1, so always this side is coming first, this first one is coming first, then second one, right? This is the case of integer dot compare, right? Same thing happens there, right? Means a is less than b, so offline comes before message. Same way here, if both are true, then both equal, order doesn't change. Here one is true and one is false. Let's say this is true now and this is false now. So in this case, what will happen if this is a and this is b, right? So here if you notice, a is greater than b, means a is greater than b, it is going to return for positive. So here this side is going to come first. So first what will happen, message goes after offline. So first offline and then message, like this, right? And think of it as like numbers, so false 0 and true 1. So if you compare 0 1, so here see this smaller than bigger, -1, so same order. Here 1 first, bigger, so positive, so order will be changed. Here same, so order will remain same, right? And here same, order will remain same, like it. Okay, like this. That's it, right? So just go over these things, right? Okay, these are very basics actually. Now here we have to return the number of mentions. So for mentions, I am going to create one array. Mentions is equal to new int, and here this is what I need to pass, right? Number of users -1. That's it. Okay, and here next online also I need to take care, right? So next online time, this is what I need to take care. New int, and here what you need to pass, you need to pass this number of users, right? So 0 means online initially. Okay, this is done. Next online time, here also you can pass like this, right? Okay, so this is done. Now after that what we need to do, right? So here we have to iterate over all these events one by one. We have already sorted, right? But what are these events? These events are list of string. So let's do one thing. First let's just, here we are going to use enhanced for loop. So how we do that? So list of string, and this is just one list, right? In the list of lists, right? So here events like this, right? So in this we have to iterate step by step now. So now I am going to write the same thing that is asked in question, right? So first thing, here what I need to do, right? So here I am going to select the events. I have already sorted the events, right? Right? So first let's do one thing. Let's get the time, right? So here time is mentioned at this, right? Let's pick this part. So time is at this, right? So here I am going to do one thing. Int cur time is equal to integer dot parse int, right? Here integer dot parse int for this event, right? So here event dot get 1, right? Clear? Now what is the type of this event? So this is at 0, right? So type of this event. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to write string type of this event. Okay, here event dot get at 0, right? This is a list, so we have to use dot get, right? Clear? Now we can have two type of events. One is message or one is maybe offline, right? That's it. So here if condition, if type dot equals what? If type dot equals message, right? If type dot equals message, then what we need to do, right? So if the type is equal to message, now inside this message, right? So what is our target? Our target is these many mentions IDs, right? It can be here also, it can be all also, right? So again, first let's get this string, what we have this in this string target, right? So here event dot get 2, right? Done. Now here inside this we have three cases, right? We have three cases. Let me maximize the screen again. Okay, we have three cases. First case, if your target dot equals all, right? So if this is the case, right, in that case all users get one mention, right? All users get one mention, all users get one mention, right? So here you have to run one loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than number of users, and here I plus plus, right? And here mentions of I plus plus. That's it, right? Clear? Very simple thing, right? And here else, if inside this, if target dot equals what here, right? This may be the token, right? Here, right? In this case only online users, right? Only online users, right? So here again you have to iterate over all the users again, right? But here inside this one if condition, if the next online array that we have created, right, next online time of I value, right, if this value is less than equal to the cur time, right, if this value is less than equal to the cur time, okay. So if this is the case, then in that case only we have to increment this. Done this part? Clear? Right? Okay. All right. This is good. Now here this ends and here this ends. Now last thing, right? Last type of token where we have IDs like this na ID X, then we have ID Y, then we have ID Z, something like this, right? This case, right? So this case we need to handle. So in this case actually these IDs we don't need to take care, but first we need to actually split this, right? So that's what I was saying, right? This problem we have to just do whatever they asked in problem, right? Problem description, we have to just do step by step everything. So here I'm going to create one token named string array, and here whatever the target that I have, I'm going to split this based on the space, right? Done. So once I separate this, now just iterate over all the strings here in the array, right? String t in token, right? Tokens you can say, right? So in this ID we don't need to take care, right? So what I'm going to do, int user ID, we just need to take care of the ID number, right? So first thing, in this t just take the substring which is starting from 2, right? This is done. Now this is done, but here I need to change it to integer, right? This is a string, right? So integer dot parse int. Clear? Done. So it is going to remove ID, right? It is going to remove ID, right? ID, these things, right? Done. So now I'm going to get a user ID, right? So here mentions array is the what I need to operate, right? Mentions of user ID plus plus. That's it. That's it. And here this ends, right? And here this overall ends. Overall means this type dot equals message, right? So other type is offline, right? So offline event I have to write here. Offline event. Offline event, right? So now I have to write offline event here. Clear? Now here user ID, again you have to take the user ID, so you can just write this, okay? So int user ID is equal to integer dot parse int, and here you can simply write event dot get, 2, right? So from the event, right, we are just iterating over the events, right? So if event is offline, so from that event we have to get 2. At 2 we have id, right? We have id mentioned in case of offline events, right? So I'm going to get this, right? And here I will just update next online time, and here user id is equal to the current time for this one plus 60. That's it. I'm going to schedule auto online, right? And in the end here everything done, right? In the end just return mentions. That's it. Only 50 lines of code, right? So half century is done, right? Now let's run the code and see if any code issues. So yes, there are some issues. Okay, let's see what are the issues. Okay, so here we are getting this. It should be number of users, right? It should be number of users here size. Reason is because we have number of users 2, right? So that simply means 0 and 1, right? So here size we have to pass 2 only, right? Not 1, right? If I am passing 1, then definitely I will get error, right? We don't have just one value, right? Here also we have two values, so 0 and 1. Okay, so that's it. So now let's run it. So see, all the test cases has been accepted, right? Now let's submit it. So see, our solution is accepted, right? So I hope that you guys are able to understand today's problem. And if you guys still have any doubts, then please feel free to ask in comment section. Till then, keep coding and keep practicing. Meet you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.